Let's start. Let's call the meeting to order. Pardon me? Yeah, I'll ask them if they'd quiet down just a little bit.
The date today is July 9th, 2012. Time is 6:32 p.m. Gary Ciccarone.
Here.
Rick Charette.
Present.
Steve Machowski. Here. Ed Nason.
Present.
Jim Freeman.
Here.
Rob Collins.
Rob's on his way to San Francisco first thing in the a.m., so he called me and told me he wasn't going to make it. Yeah.
Selectman Clifton Camp.
He's on the way. Just left Rochester. Should be here in 15-20 minutes.
Ed Comeau.
Here.
Okay, so we just have one person to replace.
Ed, would you be so good as to be Rob?
Sure.
Good deal. So we're all set. Okay. Announcements, correspondence, and mail. Well, you've all seen the mail. I'm going to read that anyway. Put it on the record. This is from Strafford Regional Planning Commission, dated July 6, 2012. This particular letter was addressed to myself. Everyone else, I guess, except Steve, got one as a board member from the same. And they're identical, I guess. Dear Mr. Ciccarone, thank you so much for your invitation to attend your planning board meeting July 9th, 2012. However, I am unable to attend. Best regards, Cynthia Copeland, AICP, Executive Director of Strafford Regional Planning Commission. So,
Did that come in today's mail?
That came in today's mail.
I didn't see it at my house.
Okay.
It could
Well,
possibly be there.
This was addressed to the Brookfield Planning Board, so.
Okay, well, I'm not worried about it.
Well, maybe, evidently we're not high up on the
whole
food
town's
chain.
insignificant, and you and I are even less.
That's right.
The most insignificant of the insignificant.
Let's go to the thumb instead.
Look up.
So the announcement is that we are not going to enjoy the beneficence of the SRPC tonight, so
I saw the video.
they did.
Yeah,
They did.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
they will reschedule. I
Yeah.
believe Cynthia Copeland is working on scenic byways for a town in South somewhere, so perhaps they're just a little bit too busy right now.
Yeah, that's good. We'll wait for them to fit us into the schedule, and we're not going anywhere. So let's proceed to public comments. Opportunities for the public will also be provided at the time of a matter discussed. Well, we have some matters to discuss, but the public is, hi, how are you, Greg?
How you doing?
Fine, thank you. They didn't show up tonight.
Yeah.
They may another time, though.
All right.
So, public comments. Members of the board, any public comments? Well, then let's get on to the review of the minutes for June 11th to start with. Well, where's the date discrepancy there?
It should be June 11th.
Yeah. Well, I amend we make a change. And that means we're going to change every page on this, the meeting, on the minutes for the June 11th. If you read the bottom of the page, it says it's 5/14/12, and it really should be 6/11/12. So so that's going to be a change. Notate it for all copies, all pages. I move that we do that. Do we have a second from anyone?
Second.
All in favor of that?
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Anybody opposed? No. There are other copies up here if anybody wants one. You're welcome to get the minutes of the meeting. And it has quite a bit of information in it too about that HUD business, et cetera, that we received from the folks that came last week.
I think they were posted on the web, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah.
Right.
Mr. Chairman, will we review these minutes again once the date change is made?
Say that again?
Will we review the minutes of June 11th at the next meeting after the date is changed? Or if everything else is acceptable?
No, if it's acceptable, that's just a change in the date. We won't have to review this is the June 11th.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
It's just an incorrect date at the bottom, typo. So we're correcting that. I would say to the members of the board that the attached documents really don't need a review. I mean, they are what they are, and they haven't been changed. They've just been copied, so we'll be addressing them later on in the old business section, so. Does anybody need more time to look at the minutes?
There's some corrections for June 25th.
Well, we're on,
11.
yeah, we're on 11. We're going to do 25th as a separate entity.
I would move that the board accepts the June 11th meeting minutes as amended.
I second Jim's motion.
Anyone have any comments about that? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the meeting, Monday meeting, June 11th, minutes are accepted as amended. Okay, let's go on to the 25th. Ed, you had found some corrections. Why don't you tell us what they are?
Here's George, number 4, under presentation from Ken Iring. You say on number 1, New Hampshire's consideration of the Granite State Initiative. It's the Granite State Future Agreement, also known as the Sustainable Communities Initiative.
So how are we going to change this? We're going to write the Granite State
Future Agreement. And its name on the federal level is the Sustainable Communities Initiative.
So enter that under 4A, I guess.
And under 4B, GSI should be GSFs.
Okay.
GSS.
Garden State Future Agreement, they call it GSF.
Granite State,
Future.
yeah.
This is history coming out.
George, did you give Greg a copy of this, the 25th?
The 20, don't you have it? 20?
No, did you? I have it, I'm reading it.
Yeah.
Did you give the gentleman in the back that copy?
Oh, yes.
Did you?
No, I didn't.
Okay, that one's the interesting one. Okay, number 5. Good one, good call, George. It says, Selectman Ernie Brown questioned the lack of media coverage. Rate the word former over Selectman.
Or just Ernie Brown.
Or just Ernie Brown. But let's just put former Selectman Ernie Brown, why not? Give him his moment in the sun. Anybody see any other interesting?
Check for GSF throughout the document.
Yeah, we should do that, yep. Other than the things that Iring presented anyway. We get a motion on this one? If everything looks kosher?
We'll accept the minutes for the Monday, June 25th, 2012 meeting.
As amended.
As amended.
I'll second that.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The meeting minutes are not part of the
Mr. Chair,
record.
abstention.
Okay. Well, we are not going to the SRP concerning the Granite State Initiative, Granite State Future, this evening, perhaps some other night. So let's go on to old business. And we are going to talk about CIP, I guess, for a few minutes. We're going to work on that as a board. We discussed that and approved it. Rob's not here, unfortunately. I'd love him to be part of it because he so dearly wants to be. And he also has a lot to contribute. However, all right, you've all got my handouts on the stuff that I've done. But if we're going to work on it as a board, I think we ought to make a battle plan amongst ourselves and how we want to handle this. And I'm open to anybody's suggestions on how they see approaching the CIP. And you've got all my stuff. And that is attached to the
June 11th meeting.
to the June 11th meeting. Now, the first thing, the formulas, I don't think we should get into that, but the other stuff, you know, basically we have to, if we're gonna work on this together as a board, we gotta have some kind of battle plan where we either take a portion of it individually and work on it, or work on it together. I did this with Dick Peckham back in the mid-90s when he was chairman of the board, and we went through the entire ordinance, page by page, and corrected all the things that were in error, and updated the language, and then it's been done a couple of times since then too. And that's all great, but, you know, the CIP we've never done before. I have a CIP home, and I'm bringing it with me. I didn't bring it tonight because I expected us to be knee-deep in SRPC and not have the time. So it doesn't make sense for us to examine that. It would be if I had it with me, but I don't think I should run home and get it at this point. And it was given to me by Craig. You know, it was a copy of the CIP from, and I can't remember the name of the town, but it was extensive, and it's a pretty good example of what CIP is. We can't compare ourselves to Nashua or Manchester, Concord. The big cities have an extensive CIP program because they've got tons and tons of assets. Our assets are so limited. As a town, you know, our collective assets that we, you know, that's a 15-minute job to list them, really. Or maybe a little longer, I mean, other than the roads. And I've got a handout on those too, but I don't have it with me either, because I didn't expect to really dig into CIP tonight. Basically, it's just a compilation of what the existing roads are, and it's outdated now because a lot of it has been improved since I did this, you know, a couple of years ago. So, being outdated, we all have to come up with some new information. Who's got idea? To me, it's determine the situation. The roads are our biggest expense outside the educational process. We're not going to get into that because we're not qualified to do any improvements in that area, even though we all have our opinions. But we are qualified to determine where we're going to take our roads, which is our biggest expenditure in the town after school. So, you know, that's the kind of thing that we need to analyze and create a battle plan for the selectmen. And not so much something they're going to follow and adhere to verbatim, because it's impossible to determine what the future is going to bring, weather-wise, traffic-wise, population, the whole bit.
Funds available.
Funds available is another story, yeah, of course. So I'm interested in everybody's opinion of how we should go about doing this.
I have something to talk about. In the minutes of June 11th attached is some of the documents from Gary Ciccarone, Mr. Chairman, and he supplied us with the April 12, 2010 outline. It's pretty straightforward. Maybe, fortunately for us, there are not a lot of assets in this town. Like Mr. Chairman said, the roads, the buildings, and other properties. So our job would be to map out all the roads, or maybe in our case, list them, indicate the current conditions, and then just put them in order of needs of repair. And we can work on the cost once we have a detailed list of the roads. Second, the buildings, we're in half of them right now. And assess the condition, the same thing. Put a list of what needs to be done or what could be done over the next 3 years, and create a budget for that. Other properties, I would need help in determining what those other properties are. I mean, I know we got the the Salt House, that's brand new.
We also had a foreclosure that's now no longer a town property, but, and I may be incorrect completely as to the dating of this.
We could probably make these lists with the knowledge in the room.
Yeah, well, Mary Lou is not here anymore, is she? Mary Lou, are you in the building? No. She has her finger on all that stuff. She knows what the tax deed foreclosure came to and how it was resolved. And there's another pending one, and those, you know, they have the capacity to be town properties. And if we have them, then we have to do something to either maintain them or to keep them from being vandalized at any rate.
Right, so three detailed lists from the agenda. Number one, assess the assets. Number two, determine the conditions. 3 lists: roads, buildings, other properties. Condition, locations, recommendations, estimates. Present that to the selectmen. There you go. This doesn't have to be a big deal.
Excuse me, on estimates, is it our position for estimates? That's the selectmen's.
Well, it depends on how you define estimates. I mean, if you're going to make a CIP program and you're going to tell the selectmen or make recommendations to them as to what needs to be done and how resources are going to be allocated, it's difficult unless you're in a business that has to do with that to make accurate estimates. And really, they won't be adhered to by somebody that's going to do the work 2 years down the road or whatever. Anyway.
That's what I mean. It's selectmen's.
Well, it's their purview to determine how much money can be spent, because they've got a certain funding available that's a discretionary fund, but it's not, an estimate is not necessarily strictly money. It could be an estimate of where the priority list is. We know that the schoolhouse is a disaster. Now, we've spent $10,000 coming up with a plan, supposed plan, and we all should get a copy of this. I'm going to get the selectmen to give us a copy so we have something to look at there.
On the web.
The copy of the assessments on the web? All right. We're going to pull it off and get a hard copy so that it's a I've looked at it, but it's going to be really difficult to implement as I see it, because it's going to cost a lot of money. And there are certain things that need to be done over there to stabilize the building at any rate, as opposed to, I mean, it may fall off. I mean, that's what's going on over there. The walls are coming apart, the roof could fall down. There are things that can be done to stabilize it that wouldn't be as extensive as the architectural report. But if it falls off, then we got a much bigger problem. We're either going to get a wrecking crew in here and throw the thing into trash, or we're going to spend a lot more money bringing it back to some kind of condition that is acceptable.
Does anyone in the room know that it's the selectman's job to make estimates or get estimates for anything that's done in the town?
Formally request estimates from businesses.
So that's their job.
Yeah.
Well, let's get it off this list. What are we doing talking about estimates? All we're going to do now is map everything out and indicate the current condition to the best of our knowledge and turn it in.
Well, Ernie,
if we're not in the estimating business, let's not do it.
have you seen, as a selectman, have you seen what I gave? Ernie Brown, when he was selectman, asked me to run, I do engineering, et cetera, okay? I'm not tooting a horn, I gave a breakdown to the town of what could be done to stabilize those buildings from a professional point of view, just for the selectmen. I didn't charge the town for it. That's something we could work with. I mean, we should also take the architectural plan that was done, and we should look at that. Because those are the things that we need to look at to determine what advice we're going to give the selectmen, and the work's been done. So we don't have to start that work all over again. That's my point. This stuff's been done. We can look at it, give the selectmen something that is our advice based on what work has been done. So You got your hand up?
Yeah.
Shoot.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, the engineering analysis of the buildings tells us what has to be done.
Correct.
Now, the selectmen are supposed to put out bids to find out how much that stuff would cost. They don't go out specifically to certain businesses and get estimates. They're supposed to just put out a public bid.
Well, yes and no. I mean, they have to prioritize things first. You're not going to do the whole job as a bid because we can't afford to pay the whole job. We have to do it incrementally. So we've got to come up with a list of things that need to be done first to keep the building from falling off the old building. Once we do that, then you can get into the finer points of what needs to be done. But we're going to create that list. That's part of, so that's, as I see, that CIP is prioritize. And that's just part of the assessment. And we've got, Ed here is in construction, Steve's in construction, I'm in construction, you've got working knowledge about all this stuff. We've got resources to tap. We'll use them. It's free, it doesn't cost the town anything, we're all sitting here giving our time.
Wait a minute.
I think you want to take a look at the assessment that the town paid for.
Yep.
Because it has all the action items and tentative costs. Now, they're a year old already, but someone put some thought into what it would cost to do the various projects.
Right.
Might be a good starting point.
Well, that's what I just said, yeah. We need those reports, we need them in front of us, then we can all talk about that. Right now, we're talking about really nothing. But that's where I want to get the priority list. Does anybody else see that? Agree with that?
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Are we as a planning board, are we in the estimating business or not?
No, we're not in the cost estimating business, no, unless we expect to do the job and give the proposal.
If that's not our job and that's not what we're here for, let's get it off the list and map out the stuff that needs to be done and indicate the conditions and turn that into the selectmen and let them do their job of prioritizing and getting estimates.
Well, let's get these, let's make it a point.
That's what we have
Can
to
you
do
do
for
that, George,
CIP.
for us?
We got to develop this list.
Yeah, can you get the list off the web so we have a hard copy of the architectural job that the town paid for?
Is it on the website?
It's on the website.
It's under the Heritage Commission.
Yes.
page.
Thank you.
Exactly. Now, there's a handout in here that I gave, and it's, I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's in this particular minutes or another one. Probably in a different one. The one at the meeting before. I mean, the architect just worked on that building alone. That's the only thing they did. They were hired to do that, and that's what they did.
Was it 10 or 15 grand?
10,000, yeah. That's what it was. It was voted on at the meeting, not the last meeting, but what's the one before? The year before, when they approved the 10,000?
Yeah, but I don't think it took the whole 10,000.
Yeah, I don't remember how that transpired. All right, well, let's get our hands on it, and then we'll use it. Ed?
About the road formula, I consider that a good tool for the selectmen to have, not to do cost estimate, it's just so if they do get a bid, they know basically what they're paying for.
That's,
There's towns up north, in Park's location, they just put bids out, and companies just came and said, okay, this is how much it's gonna cost you. They never had any from them. I can only imagine how much more they had to pay for the roads. So
Well-
having that formula is a very good idea.
well, it's a way to watch what bids are coming in, and it doesn't lie. Numbers are numbers. If you don't start out with a formula, you cannot possibly assess anybody else's bid, other than comparative to multiple bids, and then, you know how that works. So, I don't know that we can really go that much further with the roads or the buildings until well, the roads we can, but the buildings we can't until we see what the architect has come up with, and we'll make our priority list from that.
We accepted the formula as a tool, didn't we?
Yeah, I don't know that. Now, we're going to, when we put this, I just gave it to the planning board. When we make a report to the selectmen, it'll be in there somewhere.
Okay.
In an index or appendix, I don't care. Appendix could be, it could be